Hello, hello. This is Brooke Devard. You're listening to the Naked Beauty Podcast, and I am joined here by Tamu McPherson. Thank you so much for coming on Naked Beauty.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to finally be here, and I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
Yes, well, I am a long time fan, like all the way back to the blog era to All the Pretty Birds, which I think it launched in 2008, right?
Yes, it did. And I mean, I like I mentioned earlier, like I can't believe that we were so close to each other for so long, and we never got to meet. But I'm looking forward to meeting you soon in person. But thank you for following the blog all
Of
these years.
course, of course. And I think I always saw your street style, photos in Paris and Milan and London, and I always thought you were like so fabulous. So I've been following you for the longest time. And in the Hamptons, I would see you in East Hampton, like I would see you in the East Hampton Cinderella, like with your Birkenstocks on, like looking so cool. I was like, should I like go up to her? But I was like, no, 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 let me not bother her. It's gonna be like a too
I
weird of a
wish you did.
fangirl moment.
I really, really wish you did. I'm so sad that yeah, that I mean, I love that place. I could be there all day, but I really wish you did because had so much time, in the summer and we could have hung out. But one more thing to put on my visual board, hanging out with friends like you this summer, because I am coming to New York. Like I've decided, I'll
Oh,
come, I'll
amazing.
quarantine, whatever that looks like in July, but I'm back because I haven't left Italy for a year now, and it's great. Italy is great, but I'm kind of tired and I need to like see my family,
Yes, I
you know.
totally understand. I totally understand. Well, you are a fashion creator, fashion influencer living in Milan, and you get sent the most incredible clothes. Like you're not creating Fashion Nova posts here. You're doing, Gucci, Dior, Prada, everyone's fantasy really, right? To be sent all of these fabulous clothes and to spend your time creatively bringing those clothes to life for your audience. Do you feel like you knew when you started in 2008 what your life would be like now in 2021? Like, did you envision it reaching this level?
Absolutely not. I The one thing I knew is that I just wanted to work in fashion, and I had come to the conclusion that I wanted to work for magazines, and I just wanted to be on a masthead. I wanted to have that traditional experience because when I started it, print magazines were still very dominant and still very strong. It was the beginning of the decline of their dominance as compared to today. But obviously, the people that I looked up to were, the Edward Enninfuls of the situation, like the stylists that were in demand and that were on mastheads and that were editors. And I just wanted to do that work. And I thought it would be styling, and
Hmm.
so I was just trying to get there. I was just trying to get there. My work as a street style photographer came about because I went for an interview with an editor who needed help developing a street style column for the website that he worked on. And it was going to be user generated. However, he needed some actual authentic imagery to populate the content because, user generated might have been just all pictures in the house and it wasn't going to be street style as
Right.
he had modeled the column after like the street style that was happening in Japan, in Tokyo, which I know you love, Japan.
Love,
I
yes.
enjoyed your trip last year. It was last year, right? Because every
Yes.
all the yeah, I can't keep up anymore, guys. And so that's how I got my start. But I really wanted to be in magazine, and obviously it was the begin. I started in 2006, and it was at the big. It wasn't the beginning of the fashion website as we know it, but it was very, very early, and there were a handful of sites,
Yes.
and so
I
I still
discovered you actually from Guerin Story.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
who is one of the most talented people that I've ever met. She is a multidisciplinary creator, so ahead of her game. You remember she was doing video back in the day before
Way
the rest
back.
of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where I thought I would be, and this reality that we have today wasn't even a thing for me. I could never have imagined it because First of all, I was trying to get into the industry and I didn't even know about the perks that the editors were getting. I was just like, I come
Oh,
from
wait,
a
so you didn't know about the free clothes and free bags and
no,
the
because I came
fabulous trips?
no, I knew none of it. I was just desperate to work in fashion. I come from a non-fashion background, and I started pursuing a fashion career, like in proper, I would say, in magazine when I was 29. So,
Right.
like,
Because you started with law, right?
yeah,
So
I'm JD
totally different,
MBA. Yeah,
totally different.
completely different. So I'm Jamaican and my family moved from Jamaica to the US and I have a very familiar West Indian story, family moves over,
How old were you?
Jamaicans. I was 6 when I moved, but my mom moved even before I did and she went over cuz I'm here
Yes.
and she just she started working, she set us up, then I moved after she moved, and then from there, our parents really work and like instill this idea that we have to go into one of 3 or 4 careers, and that being law, medicine, or in finance, typically accounting.
Basically, coming from Jamaica to the US, your mom came first, but you were saying that there are only a few kind of fields that you were allowed to go into.
That we were you know what? And the thing is that it's not a for me and my family, it wasn't a question of like being allowed to go into those fields. It was more a question of those were the only things that existed, notwithstanding and that you were pleased to do because you were encouraged academically, and being an attorney or a doctor or someone working in finance, it is those are sexy positions. They're like amazing, and the success attached to them are is very attractive, notwithstanding the fact that my family loved art, my family loved like fashion. They were there just wasn't the sense of actually going into those fields as like a career. And it's funny, like you can enjoy it, but never once did and I had an uncle that I'm very close to, my mom's brother. He went to, I don't remember if it was FIT or Parsons, I just don't remember. But like he was at home sewing clothes and painting, and it just didn't click that I could do that. It was weird, but
Mm.
it was just my circumstance and my like immediate family.
Well, it's amazing to have the courage to think about, okay, I've invested all of this time and money in school and I'm a lawyer, and I hear from listeners all the time who tell me that they're in a job that they don't necessarily find fulfilling and they actually want to switch. They want to do something more creative. They want to do something that aligns with their passions, but they're afraid to. How did you develop the courage to say, okay, I can actually do something more creative. I can actually do the things that are in my head and I have an inkling that I'd be good at them, but I'm actually going to make that a reality.
I was very fortunate because my friend Lakia at law school pointed the fact out to me. She told me one day, "Your spirit is in fashion, and I really think that you should pursue a career in fashion." It was easy for me because I thought that I would just work at a law firm for like 7 years, right? Become
Hmm.
senior, and then move in house at Chanel in the law.
Ah,
Yeah, like,
I
or
see.
I have a finance degree too. So I thought that I would go on Wall Street and I would work as a retail analyst in luxury. It was if for me, it was like that's the plan. And that way I could segue into fashion to meet and talk to more people that were working in the fashion industry. They encouraged me to just move over. That's when I thought that I needed to do make a transition. But like I was always, thinking about it and planning how to do it. The other thing too is, having been in school that long, you were kind of used to working on a plan either ahead of time or as you went along. So, I was right out of school. So it was kind of like, okay, I have to get my resume ready. And then what are the things that I would need to present in fashion? So that stuff was fresh in my head. So like even if I had no fashion experience, I was gonna use whatever resources I had to put together something that I could show someone, and say I am interested, et cetera, et cetera. So that's how I went about it, and it was a gradual transition. It wasn't scary. It was more problem solving in the sense that, like, how do I do it? How do I get around the obstacles? What do I need to do it? But and I just think it was because I I was used to this process of applying, interviewing, getting, like that whole
Right.
process, that it was just so fresh that I wasn't scared, or nervous. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was completely aware of the fact that I had spent so much time at school and I had invested so much, financially, but, I was interested, and I knew that I wanted it very badly, and I was going to try to do it, you know?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you also have, your friend who said your spirit is in fashion, but you have this talent for putting together amazing outfits and putting together amazing looks. And I remember back when I discovered you in the street style world, there weren't a lot of Black women. There certainly weren't a lot of Black women in Europe at these shows. And you would see pictures of you with you holding the camera, but being extremely dressed up in a fabulous outfit, a fabulous coat, fabulous heels. But then I also lived for seeing pictures of you, right? Like, so not just your photography, but pictures of you. Because at that time it was like you and Shayla Monroe was another one that I would like really kind of look for her pictures. But there weren't a lot of Black women, and there still aren't a lot of Black women um, doing kind of the high fashion work that you're doing. And I know it's something that you wrote about this summer. Um, and especially in Italy. I mean, I'm sure you know him, Louis
Yes.
Pisano.
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, the lack of diversity in the Italian influencer fashion world is just shocking to me. And the fact that they're not all like banging down their door to work with you is shocking to me as well. How was that article that you wrote perceived, and why did you feel it was important to write it?
Well, since I've been working for a long time, in the industry, I and I've been working in luxury, and I mainly work in luxury, because I am in Italy, and because many of the luxury houses are here,
Yeah.
and you kind of know from the digital side, marketing side, how it works for us. I'm here. I've had relationships with these brands since the time that I worked for Grazia.it, and
Wow.
that is how I kind of was introduced to these brands, because when I worked for Grazia, I was heading the site, and I had to sell it with the ad sales team. So I physically went on all of the meetings, and I had to support them in selling the site. That is how I made the connections that I made, and that is why I feel that my story is a little bit different, because the way in which I met the people who would hire me today is just because of my experience when I was at the heading that site. So it's extremely important to me to advocate for my fellow content creators of color, because I if I'm here and I can help, then it's imperative for me. And I feel that I've had the experience I've had, and I would definitely want them to have the same experience that I have had. Now, it took me a long time to understand the I wouldn't call it power, but I don't call myself an influencer, and the reason why I don't is that I do find the term pretentious, and I just am happy to be here, and I'm
Yeah.
happy
I would
that
say
any
I would say you're a creator. That's what I would
yeah,
categorize
yeah,
you as, a
yeah.
creator. Yeah.
But I always like to make the distinction, because I never it took me a long time to see the influence that I had within these spaces.
Hmm.
Just because people assume that you get invited to these spaces and you know that you have power, and that's the furthest thing from the truth, especially when you're by yourself, and especially when you are just being offered work. And um, it took me a while to see the influence that I had, and to understand that the decision makers were listening to me. And I know exactly when it happened, because they gave me the platform to share what I had already been sharing on All the Pretty Birds. And then from that point, I was like, okay, let's go. I got it. I know that I can do this now. But I would say I am not a I'm a very direct person, and I do find my when I do write these pieces, I can be very frank, because because honesty is key. However, like I'm like a happy-go-lucky person in reality. So, me going into a meeting, I don't like conflict. So me going to a meeting and shaking things up is not within my nature, and I have to communicate the way in which I communicate. So, um, long story short, I feel a responsibility to absolutely advocate for my fellow creators of content. Today, I understand the influence that I have in these spaces. It took me a long time to grow into that influence. I
Hmm.
wasn't born one of these people who can do it right away. I do not have that personality. But the moment in which I identified it, I started to really share. To express, not even just share, to express why change needed to happen. Um, Writing that letter was I was going to write that letter before the summer. I had been planning to write it already in the fall. However, I tend to be somewhat of a perfectionist, and I wanted to write, and I say it, I wanted to write this perfect letter, and I was stressing about it, and I was like, I'm gonna have to give it my all. It's like it would be like I have to give birth. Like that's how I was treating it. And then we had the event here in Milan, which was supposed to come after the letter, and it was Creatives of Color to Know in Milan. So that event took place, but the letter was supposed to happen before. So it was on my mind for a long time, and it wouldn't have been very different than what I actually wrote. But obviously, the social and the racial reckoning that took place this summer definitely pushed me to write it. So yeah, that's it. And
Cool.
like we say, I have a friend who in life, I have a friend, one of my mentors, one of my best friends who helped me a lot when I was in law school. And he helped me so much. And I said to him one day, well, how can I repay you? And he said, pay it forward. He was like, you turn around and you help someone else. So
Mm.
I think that's all I'm doing is I'm helping, someone else. And when I think about the work that I do and how I can advocate, I think about a young person in their room, in their bedroom, dreaming of doing something and not being able to because they don't have the opportunity. And that truly makes me sad, but it enables me to stay focused, and it enables me to always have a clear idea of why I will speak out and how else I'll speak out. So that's what keeps me kind of focused, always thinking about the younger generation and just wishing that they could have the opportunities that we have.
Yes, that's so important that we all have to pay it forward.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I need to get some practical advice from you. And the first thing I'm going to start with is just we need to know the skincare regimen because in the 13 years that I have been familiar with you, you have not aged at all. I mean, you just haven't.
Thank,
I'm sure you hear this a lot, but it's just like it's not really adding up for me.
thank you. So I would suggest that you drink a lot of wine.
Okay, love it. Love that tip. Very European tip. Love it.
Lots and lots of wine. So my mother has really beautiful skin, and she's low maintenance, and um,
It's always genetic, by the way. When people have incredible skin, it's always
yeah,
genetic.
but she's, I mean, 100 times better than my skin. My mother uses, are you ready? She washes her, I don't know what she washes her face with, but she uses Nivea in
Okay.
the blue tub as
Yep.
moisturizer.
Okay. That you know what? I've heard that before, and if it works for her, then it's great.
That's what she uses, and she has impeccable skin. She doesn't she doesn't have facial hair, which I'm jealous about, and she doesn't have hair on her legs, which I'm jealous about.
I
But
don't
okay, so
either.
that's yeah.
But you know what? It's so interesting to be jealous of that because I'm part of the hairless club. I don't
I
have
love it.
no, but I've had to get my eyebrows microbladed because I don't have
Mm.
eyebrows. And like, I mean, I use mascara and it does a little something, something, but like, I don't have thick lashes. So people that complain about facial hair, I'm like, yeah, but you've got gorgeous eyebrows, you've got nice thick lashes. You know, they're
I
less
don't
than,
have gorgeous, I need some microblading.
no, you have great brows.
Thank you. I don't have a tail. Like I don't have much of a
Do
tail.
you
I have
add
my
with a little pencil?
No, this is all that's what I have. I have my father's eyebrows. My mom has great eyebrows, but I have my father's eyebrows. And my son, who you'll meet in the summer, he could like, I don't know, tweeze his eyebrows and give them for transplants because he has the thickest, beautiful eyebrows ever. You'll see him this
Oh,
summer
how old
because
is he?
he's 13 and he can
Oh my
babysit in a few
God.
years.
Yes, yes.
He
We'll have
can
babysit
babysit.
Mavi. I
He
love it. I love
literally
it.
can babysit in a few years.
I love it.
Um,
Yes, tell me everything you use. I've got my
So I
notepad here.
use the Julicis that I was telling you about. So I use Julicis. I'm like obsessed, and I love that product so much.
You
And
have to spell the name of this brand because I'm not familiar with it, and
I
I think
brought
I
it
know
on
everything.
because maybe I don't even pronounce it properly. I've never thought I pronounced it properly, but it's Julisis.
Okay, Julicis.
Yes, and I don't know if that's I because I just found it at Cat Beauty because I'm obsessed with Cat Beauty.
Oh, they have such
Um,
good stuff.
Yeah, I someone introduced me to Cat Beauty and then I never turned back. So this is the gold wash day and they actually have a night, but I was just using it night and day. I don't know if I should get the night version,
Mm,
but I just, use it when I run out of that because I haven't figured out if they will ship from, I think they're in the UK. They have a distribution in the UK, but now it's even messed up because of Brexit. So okay, I use that, and then I also use Ren because that's more readily accessible. You can get it here in the department store, and you can also get it at the pharmacy. For a serum or a moisturizer, I use Vintner's Daughter, which is such
okay.
a beloved product.
Yes, we've had April on the podcast. She's amazing.
So
She's
sweet.
she created it. I'm sure. Did she do a call with you before she sent you the product?
No, well, what happened was, so I discovered it at Cat Beauty, and
Okay.
then she's really good friends with Sherry McMullen, or she's friends with Sherry McMullen, who's my friend who has McMillan's boutique in Oakland
Okay.
and Palo Alto. So I met her when I went out to see Sherry, and so that's how I met
Okay.
her.
Okay. So
Uh,
Vintner's Daughter, and are you doing the serum and the essence?
so she sent me the essence, and then I it
You
got
lost
lost.
it.
Yeah. So don't tell her that. But I'll tell her that happened to me again. Um, so I use that, and I also use the beautiful oil by Kara Weiss. Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh,
Kara Weiss.
Kajir. It's there's like a
Oh,
Kajir Weiss. Yeah, I'm not sure, but yes, she makes amazing products. I use her makeup. I haven't tried her skincare.
I love her makeup. I
The
love it.
cream blush is incredible, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I really, really love it. So I use that, and I use both of them because I love both products. So I'll use the serum like as a moisturizer, and then since I was kind of I was when I picked up the beautiful oil, they kind of sold it to me as something that you put on before makeup. So then I just have them in two different places, like where in my office is in the house, and so where I'll put on my makeup is where I have the beautiful oil, and then the serum is like my day and night product. So it's in the bathroom in my bedroom.
Nice.
Um, and so I will use that, and then I like Tata Harper's products as well.
For
Is
Tata Harper, I'm interested to hear what you like about them because I have her products. Sorry, I have the Tata Harper products, and I really like the way that they smell and the sensory experience of putting them on, but I don't know if it's doing anything for my skin.
that's why I like it. Like I for body, I liked the revitalizing oil. I like lived by that for a long
Yes.
time. I just finished the body scrub, and then I was using the under eye cream oil. And it's a creamy one. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't tried that.
Until your until your episode where you were talking about you're talking about creams for the under eyes, like or it's one point you were saying like if they work or not or something, and
Oh, because I've
yeah,
talked to several dermatologists, and a lot of people say you can skip it, that you can
yeah,
just use, your regular moisturizer, that you
yeah.
don't
So
need to do an eye cream.
girl, I bought the eye cream and then I saw that. And you know that her products are not economical. Let's just say that. So it's
Yes.
still sitting here, and Yeah. So I have that product. Oh, you know what I love? I love a rose water facial mist. I'm
Oh,
like obsessed.
same. That is like my obsession. That's you and I are on the same page there. I
I
love a
love
rose water spray. Which rose water sprays do you use?
So I use, and I'm like, I am meant to bring everything here because I will go back to the store and get it every single time. But there's this one that Cat Beauty sells, and it's just like, I want to say it's like holy water rose mist or something like that.
But isn't there just something about spritzing your face with rose water throughout the day that just makes the day
I
better?
I love it. I don't really know if it adds moisture or not,
It
but
definitely does.
okay, it does, it does, okay.
It definitely
It's
does.
so
Yeah.
relaxing, and I
Yeah.
I also I travel with it. I like, I have, the Muji, travel size, little dispenser, so I'll pour it in there and, like, spritz my face with it on the when I used to fly, when we used to fly.
Yes.
So I love that product. I have is it the May Lindstrom?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
May Lindstrom. Okay. I'm so bad with names. I have her the clay mud mask is a honey mud mask. I have that product and I love it because it also I do love the sensory aspect of every product I buy. I tend to love more spa fragrances. Um they revitalize me. They give me energy. They're reinvigorating, I find, and I just tend to love them. So
Same.
I feel like
It's so
Mhm.
interesting that you and I both share this love of products with fragrance and the product experience having fragrance because there's this whole movement now for fragrance-free products. Like some people won't use skincare that has fragrance in it because they think that it's irritating to their skin. But I mean, obviously you don't want like synthetic fragrances and dyes, but natural fragrance, I think it's for me, it's a big part of the product experience.
I think that that's why it doesn't bother me that there's free. I'm not, because there are products that I would never go near because it's synthetic. Like, and that's the key. These products are they're very clean, and a lot of them have very few ingredients. So I love that aspect of it. I also have the May Lindstrom, that oil cleanser, which
Yep.
I don't love to use because I don't always have a nice handy washcloth to then remove it with. And so I need to keep my routine very simple. But I do love, it's a nice product. It's just not the most convenient for me. Um, and then I do like lip care because I feel like, especially with what we do and with that, what I do with stories and stuff, like one of my pet peeves is to see my lips chapped.
I hate
So,
it. I hate
right?
I hate the way it looks, but more than anything, it's the way that it feels. I hate
Yeah,
the feeling of chapped lips so much.
exactly. Especially with the mask, because the mask I feel is very dehydrating. Do you
Definitely.
find that?
Well,
And
you know what's interesting? It is masks I don't think are helping our skin that much, but I do find that when it's really cold and I have the mask on, instead of my face being exposed to the wind and the cold air, I feel like the mask is like a little bit like a protective barrier.
definitely, it definitely is, and I've been walking around a lot because, I'm starting to in the beginning of the pandemic, it was spring here in Milan, and I know that you remember from Europe, our springs tend to be milder and start earlier, so in Milan, like, in March, it's nice and warm, and it's spring. I mean, relatively warm, and the days are getting longer, and it didn't rain in the spring here in Milan. I have to be quite honest and say in the winter, this winter pandemic is really wearing me out. And so I, unfortunately, because of the lockdowns here, have spent so much time in the house. And then I was positive again for COVID. So then I was quarantined in my house away from everyone else.
Right.
And I find myself going on a lot of walks now, and I'm a cold kind of person, but I feel with the mask it is an additional layer that keeps you warm, so I don't mind that. But I do mind the dry lips, and so I use olio e osso, and I use paws paw, which is just
Oh,
like,
yeah,
yeah,
classic.
yeah, which is a classic that all of, our makeup artist friends suggest. And then I have a friend, Lee Oliveira, who is also a street style photographer, who brings it from Australia for me.
Love
I
it.
know he doesn't need to do that, but because he can get it, here
It
he
just
does.
feels better when it's from Australia, right? Like when you
Yeah.
get it from the source, it just like feels like more special.
Yeah.
Well, I'm interested to know what fragrances you love because one, I would imagine that all of the fashion houses you have relationships with, you probably get to try a lot of fragrance as well. But given that we both like fragrance in our skincare products, do you also like wear a lot of fragrance and do you have fragrance favorites?
I have my favorite fragrance is by it's called well, I'm gonna tell you in the I'm gonna send it to you, and it's like called Burgett, but I always just feel like that's like a watch company or a pen company. So I have to look at it, but it's not a well-known company. It's like a very small
Mm.
perfumer, and it's rose. It's antique
Ah,
rose, and
lovely,
it's
lovely.
divine. It's divine, and it's in a beautiful, beautiful bottle.
Have you ever tried ordering like essential rose oil?
I'm sure I've had it. I'm sure I've had it in my travels. The only essential oils I have ordered are like lavender.
Yes, love lavender.
Yeah, and I order it from a I really feel like this company is called like Rosemary, and I think it's just like an online distributor of essential oils in the United States. And so lavender, and then there was a digestive mix that I used to order, and so those were the essential oils. And then I also ordered like Palo Santo, because you can
Oh, I
someone was
love.
wearing it as a, yeah.
I use that as like my essential oil based fragrance all the time. But I would encourage you if you love the scent of rose to order like pure rose oil. It is very pricey, but a little bit goes such a long way. And you can add it into your body scrubs. You can add it into your body wash. You can put some on your wrists. Like you can basically just rose scent everything.
You have to tell me where, and I'll order it and send it to my mom's house, and then she'll send it to me here.
I know. Oh my gosh, I'm sure ordering in Milan is tricky, but it's the place where I go for all of my essential oils is Mountain Rose Herbs. I think they make the best quality essential oils, but I'll send you the link.
Are they based in New York?
They are based in, I want to say, Oregon.
Yeah, that's where they're all. I feel like this rosemary place is because I discovered it when we were in Montana. And so yeah, I think that those are the places.
Yes, yes. And you have this beautiful short natural haircut. I would love to hear a little bit about how you maintain your hair. And have you always been natural?
No, so I had a relaxer until maybe I was 30. And after that, when I moved to Italy, it was very difficult because, as you know, in Europe, well, no, it's different in Paris because there are many more established African hair salons that do relaxers. What I found here in Italy is more women wear extensions, protective styles, and so there isn't a culture for relaxers. And so when I came here and I was trying to find someone to do the relaxer, it was disaster after disaster after disaster. So I went natural finally. I went natural twice. I went natural when I was pregnant with my son because I believed in the myth of not getting a relaxer while I was pregnant. He's 13 years old, so that really could have still been a myth that was was not demythed. And then I was natural then, but as soon as I got back to New York, I got a relaxer, and I had like my last relaxed haircut was like a bang bob situation. So
Cute.
I had that. And then after that, when I got back, I slowly had to start going towards natural again. But what did it for me and what made me go natural these past, I don't know, 6, 7 years is that I got a bad relaxer, and you know about black salons, and sometimes black salons in areas where good hair, like black hair salons aren't, is that they'll just have their cousin come in and do your relaxer, and this person has no training, and that's truth. That is truth. So I go to get my relaxer one time, and the guy that usually did it, he was busy doing a weave, and he couldn't relax me at that moment, even though I had an appointment, because then appointments are relative too. And so
Right.
he's
The
like, he
concept. There's
couldn't
a
do
loose concept of an appointment. Yep.
it. Yeah, you know. Yeah. So his friend, she did the relaxer, and I might have like had like a pimple on my head or like some kind of stress situation. But anyway, she relaxed it, and it was tragic because she relaxed my hair. The relaxer did not take, and I had a massive burn on my
Oh
scalp
my God.
that progressed to the situation progressed to it was acute psoriasis of the
Wow.
scalp
This is
because I
traumatic.
yeah, so when you get a burn like that, you can have this acute reaction where your scalp hardens.
Wow.
Like, it flakes into a hard crust, and
Wow.
then it doesn't come off. It's not like, the crust that you get when you have relaxer, and if you are that person, you pick it off because it's satisfying. It wouldn't come off, and I was on vacation when it happened. It was oozing because it was obviously an infection at that point. And when I got back, my hairstylist in New York, I told her what happened. She's like, "Oh my God, you have to go to the dermatologist."
Right.
It didn't even dawn on me to go. I go to the dermatologist and he gives me topical cortisone to
Okay.
dissolve the crust.
Oh my God.
And so I go back to him, and he's Italian now, but he's from the South. So I go back to him and I'm like, "Can I get another relaxer?" Well, I'll give you context. I go back to him and I'm like, "Can I have another can I do a relaxer?" He's like,
After wait,
"What?"
after all of this, you wanted to still get another relaxer?
Because that relaxer didn't take, and like I didn't have a plan. Okay. So I was like, "Can I get a relaxer?" And I didn't even have anyone who could do like a proper blowout. It was bad. And so because I did find a person that could do a blowout, but then she left, and these it's hard to find a reliable salon. And I'll get to what I do now and who I work with, who I love and adore. So he was like, "Are you kidding me?" He was like, "Never ever shall you do that to your scalp again." So I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay, fine." So it was January. Yeah, it was January, February, and so I was coming to New York, and I told my hairdresser who's still in New York. She works in Brooklyn. I told her I'm coming back, and she's like, "I've wanted to cut your hair natural for so long. I'm going to cut your hair natural." And that is when I got my most recent natural haircut that I've remained natural all this time.
I
So
love
in
it.
the meantime, I found this hair salon here in Italy, and I was getting cute cuts. And there was this young Ethiopian hairstylist that was assisting the salon owner, and I would always look at him when I would go. When I was having my hair cut. Great, great stylist, the man who owned the salon. But I kept looking at my little brother because he could be my brother, and I was like, I wonder, because his hair was always super tight, with just our edge. I was like, I
Mhm.
wonder if he could cut my hair. So finally one day, my stylist had like he was away because he also works during fashion week, for different brands.
Mhm.
And so I went, and my stylist Natty was there. I was like, "Natty, can you cut my hair?" He cut my hair. I was like, "Oh my God." I was like, "I love you, and you will cut my hair forever." And his haircuts are therapeutic because he's like he does all types of hair. He's here in Italy. He does Italian, Caucasian hair. He does every hair type. But the thing is that he still cuts like old school with the scissor,
Oh
and then
wow.
he breaks the razor blade. You know that razor blade that you can
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fix up your eyebrows. He breaks it in half, puts it through the teeth of the comb, and then like fine tunes your hair like that.
Wow.
Between the sound of the scissors moving through my hair and that, like, I could fall asleep. And I love
Yeah.
going to him, and I could go to him every week like you would if you were like a guy in New York City. But he's like, I there's nothing else to cut, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to cut your hair that short. You really don't want that.
You just
So
like
that's
this sensory experience.
yes, yes. And he's a sweet, wonderful soul, and like his energy just like radiates out when like you're in his chair. So yeah, that's how and the thing is that his haircuts, and my hairstylist in New York, her name is Joe. The thing about their haircuts is that they last a long time. And during the last lockdown, obviously I didn't get my haircut from January, and it just grew out to what was essentially a perfect like mid length afro, and
Yes.
I never touched it. But it's because if you find someone who with great cutting skills, you're good.
Right. The shape is there. The shape is there. So, is your plan to always keep your hair in a short, natural? Like, will you
I'm
ever grow it out?
I'm so spoiled now because I'm a bit lazy and I just don't like if I had to shape it and like groom it and like I guess I'm a little OCD because I'd be like, okay, that curl pattern is off to the side and it's just messing with me and I'd
You
want
need
it
it to be
kind of just
perfect.
yeah. So for me this works and it's really so low maintenance and when I was traveling a lot for work it made a lot of sense, you know, because already like you can never see the back but the back is never perfect and it's all smushed down, but if I had to do all of that with the schedule that we had previous to now it wouldn't be sustainable,
Right,
you know.
right, right. So you mentioned traveling and your schedule. I'm so curious because I see the finished, polished street style shot of you dripping in your designer items. And I even see the pictures that you post on Instagram in these fabulous outfits. Are you spending the whole day walking around in this look, or is it the image?
So no, I shoot the image. Like I shoot the image. And what's funny is like currently, well, when we were traveling, I would have those outfits on all day.
Okay.
Now that we're home, usually what the last thing that I shoot is what I have on. So like earlier, I was shooting this blouse that I have under the sweater. And remember, the apartment is cold. So then I threw this on and I went out to a meeting with this on with the skirt that I'm wearing. So I tend to feel like the last thing I shoot is what I wear actually, you know?
Okay.
But no,
Okay.
I'm not gonna sit here in sequins all day. Like, no. That stuff I will wear to dinner, even if we're having dinner at home. Because just like you, we're just trying to like, you know, create moments of like celebration and joy during this pandemic. But it would be uncomfortable sitting on the sofa all day in sequins, you know?
Right, right.
Yeah.
One thing I do love that you do that I don't see a lot of fashion creators doing is you share looks with masks sometimes. And it's kind of driving me a little bit crazy that all of these fashion creators are posting this content. We've essentially been in lockdown for almost a year and I don't see a mask and I'm like I'm trying to envision this moment, but do you think it's that they think the mask takes away from the fantasy of the fashion or what do you think it is?
I do agree with you there. I try to be very balanced about it because and very practical because when I'm outside, obviously I wear the mask outside like everybody else does. And if we're shooting in an isolated area, I can take the mask off. Obviously, if there's traffic, I keep the mask on. I like to share images with the mask on because, like you said, we're in the middle of a pandemic. This is very serious. Like there are
Right.
people losing their lives every day. And my mother is a nurse and she still works in a hospital. And the fact that people are being irresponsible puts her at risk and puts her colleagues at risk and and continues to fuel the spread of the virus. And so I just feel that it's responsible to show images with the mask. And the other thing too, we're not going to be able to move back past this moment faster than we are doing and anytime soon. You know, science has to unfold the way it needs to unfold to get this vaccine distributed globally. But if we just keep spreading it, you know, whatever new reality we are going to have is not going to take place because we're always going to be here in a spread, in a spread, in a spread. So yeah, you know, I don't even think the mask takes away from the looks anymore. I
Right.
see that people probably think so. And, you know, so many brands have pivoted to start, you know, producing masks that are really gorgeous and cute. And like, you know, you can find masks in any color and any pattern.
Do you have any
So
favorite mask companies?
and okay, so no, I don't focus. Okay, so who makes nice masks? I have a, you know, I wear the K and 5 one when I go out a lot, but like when I'm mixing and matching, there is a company that sent me some masks that were cute. They were like fashion masks, but they were like the N95 masks. I can also drop you that in the notes.
Okay.
Um, but typically, the masks that I wear a lot that are the fabric ones. I had gotten some from Zalando that were that good. You know what? Who makes really good masks? The Gap. The Gap makes really
Really?
good cost. Yes, they make
That's
really
the
good.
last brand I would expect for you to call out.
Yeah, no, they do, and I bought them, and I'm still wearing the ones that I had from the summer because they're cotton. They fit around your face well, and the elastic behind your ears is not uncomfortable, and I love wearing those. Um, then I they're like a there's so many brands that have sent me masks, and I wear them because I wash them. Like I wear them, I wash them, and then I cycle through them. My friend Ginny Hibby sent me some really gorgeous masks that I wear at home. So I'll wear the cloth ones at home, and then I'll wear the N95 ones when I go outside. 'Cause
Interesting.
yeah, mhm. Also, if I go to a meeting, like, look, if you're in a meeting in a closed what do you I just think that they work better, right? Like,
Right,
you
right.
know, like
That
and then
makes
if I'm
sense.
walking around, I started to walk a lot outside, which already the first, wave, I'd never went outside, and now I'm outside because for my sanity and for my mental health, I have to get outside and walk. I was saying before why I'm walking so much. It's because I'm this time around, I want to be really honest, like my anxiety is kicking in because the days are shorter. The weather is gray constantly, and I am working a lot from home, and the days are blurring. And I have like pandemic fatigue, like everyone else does. So like I need to spend a lot of time walking outside, and I even started to shoot street style again because I'm walking so much.
I love that.
And I'm outside, and I think it would be interesting. And I know other photographers are already doing it, but to capture style now in the pandemic, which is so telling of where we are as a civilization, I would say.
Totally. Well, speaking of walking around Milan, I would imagine there aren't a lot of black women. When you see another black woman, is there like a nod? Is there like an acknowledgement of
I
like,
was
I see
always that
you?
person. I was always that person. My husband was like, no, I got to the point where so my husband is Italian because you've never met him, but my husband is Italian. It got to the point where he started to point out black people, and I said to him one day, I said, "Are you the president of the Blacks in Italy Club?" Because he was just like pointing everyone out. Um, there is absolutely a nod. There's absolutely an exchange if it's possible, because also look, we're human. There is it's obvious if someone wants you to stop and talk to them.
Right.
Like, you can do the nod, and then if the person responds warmly, the response is warm, but not in every case our fellow black people are going to stop and want to talk to us. But if they're friendly, I will get in their jam.
That's great. That's great. And do you speak Italian?
Yeah, I speak Italian. Yeah.
And you learn just from being, because my husband's Turkish and I don't speak Turkish.
I think Turkish is a different language though. Like I don't know
Mm,
how easy that would be to learn.
it's hard to learn any language, though, I think.
I think Turkish would be I had a lot of Turkish friends in New York City when I was still living there, and I went to school with quite a lot of Turkish friends. And I don't know if that's a language that would be easy for me to learn, having been around them. Like um, however, Italian. I studied Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I was studying Spanish until after grad school because what are the projections now in how many years it's going to be like
I don't
the
like, I think like in 10 years, like very soon.
yeah, so at the time I knew that I should learn Spanish, proficiently, and I was going to be in the at the time at the United States, and so that I wanted to be proficient in Spanish. So I studied long past the time I needed, and then I picked up Italian. So I was used to already just studying a language. I had to block the Spanish though because it's a false friend for Italian. You think you speak Spanish so that you can get away with speaking Spanish in Italy, but there are too many false friends that you get yourself into
Mm,
trouble in learning the language. So I blocked it unfortunately because I studied until I was like 25.
wow.
Yeah. So, but I do speak it. I learned Italian. I started studying Italian before I moved to Italy, but I don't think that you could unless you're, just you have an ear and you're gifted, that you can truly learn a language that way. I think you have to be immersed in the country and speaking it every day and hearing it all around you to truly pick it up. If you're an average person, I'm average with languages. So I came here, I studied Italian for 5 months, 5 days a week, 3 hours a day, and I had a
Wow.
tutor. So it was intense,
Okay.
and it was
I need to do
immersive. Yeah.
that. I need to do that for Turkish. Another practical tip that I would love from you. So I am now in a position I feel very privileged where skincare companies send me products. And it gets a little bit overwhelming for me because I only have one face and I only have so much storage. You are being sent shoes and bags and coats and sweaters and how do you, and I'm sure that it's all really good stuff. As I mentioned earlier, it's you're not getting sent clothes from Fashion Nova. It's high quality luxury goods. How do you store everything and maintain your sanity when you have so much product around?
That you've identified the problem, like storing and maintaining your sanity, because there definitely is the opportunity for incredible clutter
Right.
when you're receiving all of these things. Essentially, so I have my office, and so I have at this moment 4 racks in my office, and that's where that stuff is right now. And then I also this year I have just come to the conclusion that I'm going to request that they not send me gifts, but this is something I'm starting now. So I'm starting it now. I want to be clear. I'm just going to request that they send me the samples so that I can shoot them and send them back.
Send them back.
Yeah, because the
Interesting.
other thing too is that I'm thinking, in this pandemic year, I've been gifted such beautiful things, and I've photographed them, and I've worn them the two times I could wear them, but I don't have it. I'm not going anywhere where I can wear. And I'm a big person. I'm like I wear my clothes forever, and I wear them. I repeat them. I love wearing them. I fall in love. So I really just don't have any opportunity to wear anything right now. I'm being realistic. Like we're in the highest
Right.
lockdown level tier right now. Like I went to an appointment today because you can have one-on-one appointments for work, but like I'm not
Right.
going to many of those, and definitely no dinners. I mean, we're having a party on Saturday for my niece for her birthday. We'll be 7 people, like,
Right. Right.
and I will
Right.
get
Right.
dressed up, and so will her mother. But okay, long story short, this year I'm just gonna. I want to support brands that I work with. I want to support emerging brands, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say, send me a sample, and I will photograph it, and I'll send it back to you because I don't want to accept it for it to sit here, and
Hmm.
I don't. I just feel like it's not sustainable for you or for me in the sense that it's just something else that's out there in
Right.
the
Right.
world
Right.
that
Well,
need that.
if you ever need anyone to send the clothes you no longer want to, I am open and accepting and will gladly pay for shipping because I'm sure you've got a lot of amazing stuff. But something that I just started this year because I realized I had this overflow, which may be an interesting idea for you, is I started kind of like an editorial team for Naked Beauty. For on my Instagram account, I have different people that follow the account and love skincare volunteer to do reviews for me. So I actually, the brands say, "Can we send you this?" And I know it's because they want my audience to see it. And I say, "Actually, I have these, 5 editors for January, February. Can you send it to them?" And they'll do the review for my page. So that could be like an interesting way to spread it around a little bit.
That is absolutely a great idea. We start to talk about that and utilizing the site more.
Yes, yes, that could
The
be very
website,
interesting.
yeah.
If you need a fashion correspondent for all the pretty birds, I will
Yes.
volunteer. I have two last questions for you. One is just around because you are such someone who appreciates aesthetics so much. One of the things that I've been thinking about is how much do you think the packaging of a product impacts your experience of it? Like, I think sometimes I'm guilty of getting caught up in the way a bottle looks. Like, it makes me like the product more or less. Do you think that has like a really big impact, especially with you being such a kind of aesthetically driven person, into how you feel it performs?
I'm a total victim of that.
Yeah.
Like I'm
It's
like
so
a
real.
total packaging victim. However, I do know that there are plenty of brands who make fabulous, effective, gorgeous products that don't have, aesthetically pleasing packaging, and I do appreciate their products. So I know that that exists and that's out there, and I appreciate it. But I am a victim for packaging, and I have to admit that. But I'm really happy about the work that a lot of brands and I would say packaging companies are doing to reduce waste and to make the packaging supplies more sustainable. So I'm encouraged by that.
Yes, absolutely. And back to more, again, practical advice, I would love to know kind of what trends you're loving at the moment or what trends you think will be wearing this spring. Because I really do look to you so much for fashion advice. And I love the way that you do color blocking and mixing prints. And I just feel like I'm always so inspired looking at your content. What trends should we be thinking about as we ease into this new season?
So 100% like bold. And you know what? With the, did you see the home was, hold on. Oh, somebody just posted something. Okay, the colors from the inauguration yesterday, like if you looked across the spectrum, it was like rainbow colors and they were like bold because obviously there was the purple, which was a
Mhm.
nod to the suffragette movement. And then there was yellow. Amanda Gorman wore
Yes.
that beautiful
Fabulous
yellow
yellow
Prada.
coat. Yeah.
Yeah. And Lady Gaga wore the fuchsia in the, oh my God, I'm forgetting the brand, the Italian brand.
Schiaparelli.
Schiaparelli. See,
Yes.
yeah, Schiaparelli. And yeah, so I like first of all, okay, so Christopher John Rogers, he did Kamala's look, and what is incredible is his collection. I think is really indicative of what I am super excited about for the summer because it's bold, it's graphic, it's bright, and it's playing with tailoring, but then it's also hyper feminine with the dresses, and it's sexy in his way with the cut out backs. So definitely color, bold color. And I think from this inauguration down, it's just going to be the start of, rolling into spring with those colors. Even if, on Instagram, and better than me, that like the minimalist nude colors are really strong and popular. That aesthetic works also. But I'm going on, I've already ordered my Christopher John Rogers, but I'm going to look at Rosie Asseline because I
Mm,
kind of also want, I feel like like glamorous kind of dressier dresses. I think we're going to go into that space because we're going to want to celebrate, like, and I think that there's going to be like a fashion urgency to dress up come spring because we are
yes.
all fatigued. And so I think statement pieces, statement dressier dresses, I definitely think like I do, like, going back to white. I feel like the white suits are going to have a nice moment, specifically with Gabriella Hearst. Oh my God,
Mm.
I saw Amy Sal in a three-piece suit the other day, and I'm not well over it. I don't know how I'm going to afford it because it's three-piece, and Gabriella Hearst is so
It's
expensive.
expensive, yes.
But it was like a knotted kind of blazer over a vest and then the trouser. Like I
Oh, sounds
almost
perfect.
lost my mind. Um, so okay, so let's go. Tailoring, um, sophisticated tailoring, then bright, bold colors, and then party dressing, and probably kind of the frock that you can wear at home, probably maybe like the caftan, but it's like a dressier version of the
Mm,
caftan. Um, Easier to wear probably because we want to look festive. However, we are still probably going to be home. So that
yes.
kind of like movement, but we probably, it's going to get warmer again. We're going to be over the sweatpants and over the lounge, and that kind of dress is like the Mara Hoffman kind of situations.
Hmm.
Those work well for that mood. And I don't know. I like I mentioned to you, I'm flying to New York in July. Like, and I, because I need to move. And my friends are like flying to Italy from New York this summer. Everyone is like, we are going to do all the testing, we're going to do all the quarantining, but we're moving.
Well, final question for you. When do you feel most beautiful?
I definitely feel most beautiful in nature. When when I'm falling in, like, I love, like most people, I love the sun, I love a breeze, I love flowers. So I feel beautiful when I am admiring nature,
Hmm.
because there's nothing like it, especially now that if you don't live in a space where you can be near nature, like just how important it is, and just how important it is to treat this planet better, you know. But I definitely feel better because you see the relation and you see the possibility of what this planet gives you when you're in nature, you
Yes.
know.
Yes, absolutely. I love that answer. Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Tammy,
you. I'm
for
so
coming on.
excited.
Yes, yes. And I'll link to all of the places where people can find you, whether it's on the blog or following your fabulous Instagram account. And it's so interesting. Reels was the last product I launched before I went on maternity leave. And to see the way you have been using Reels has been such a joy. I mean, you were so good at the short form video, like you're killing it. So,
Thank you so much, because obviously, like every new format, like you have to like learn. So okay, so you worked on developing that, like, because you're in the marketing team, and that's kind of like, yeah.
yes, yes. So that was the last product that I helped to launch before I left. And it was this whole thing of like how are creators going to use Reels and how are creators across all verticals going to use Reels. And really thinking about fashion creators who are so used to like the image, like how are they going to be able to kind of adapt to this format? And then I just see what you've done with music and dancing and transitions. And I'm like, she gets it. She's killing it.
Thank you, because I don't know what I'm doing. But the other thing is, I kind of feel like, remember, since I was a photographer first, I actually I feel very awkward, like I'll do the pose because I don't know what else to do. And like,
Right.
I was very bad at posing in the beginning. They my the team that I worked with, they got me that Coco Rasha posing book, because
Oh,
that's
yes.
how I would just do that one pose, because I never like looking at the camera. So I'd just be like that. They're like, "No, if you're going to commit to this, you need to loosen up." So that's why I dance, because I just don't know what else to do, you know.
No, I love it. I love it. I
Thank
love it.
you.